A glint of blue-green catches your eye as you sort through a handful of quarters, and suddenly what seemed like spare change transforms into a gateway to Crater Lake's icy depths. Today, we're spotlighting two state quarters that quietly command attention in the numismatic world. The 2005 Oregon quarter, with its serene Crater Lake scene, and the 2004 Iowa quarter, depicting a young eagle mid-flight. If you've held one of these in your palm, you might be sitting on far more than 25 cents. Let's set the stage with the Oregon issue. Its story, its standout traits, its price benchmarks, and the quirks that make certain examples genuinely rare. By the end of this segment, you'll know exactly what to look for when you're hunting through rolls or trays for that next prized edition. When Oregon earned its turn in the U.S. Mint's 50 state quarters program, it wasn't just another stop on a checklist. It celebrated the state's admission to the Union on Valentine's Day, 1859. The program itself ran from 1999 through 2008, issuing 5 new designs each year in the order the states joined. Oregon's quarter emerged as the third release of 2005, hitting pockets and parking meters on June 6th of that year. Back then, collectors and casual spenders alike paused to appreciate the depiction of Crater Lake, the deepest body of water in the United States, framed by rugged peaks and whispering pines. Behind that iconic image stands sculptor-engraver Donna Weaver, chosen for her ability to blend natural elegance with crisp, modern lines. Weaver's design invitation was more than a nod to artistry. It brought a woman's perspective to a series still dominated by traditional motifs. The obverse carried the ever-familiar portrait of George Washington, and homage to the original bust, while the reverse unveiled Weaver's clean lines and depth, capturing Wizard Island's silhouette against the mirrored lake. Spotting an Oregon quarter at a glance is simple. On the reverse, you'll see the words Crater Lake beneath the rim, with concentric rings suggesting the water's depth. The obverse offers Washington's profile, with the mint mark, P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, at 3 o'clock and the date 2005 at 6. Composition is the standard clad mix, copper and nickel, while the silver proofs, minted in San Francisco, carry 90% silver and bear an S mark. Mintage figures come in at roughly 316 million Philadelphia pieces, 404 million Denver coins, and just 1.7 million silver proofs. For most of these quarters in circulation, face value applies, 25 cents. But certain niches of the market transform them into four-figure treasures. Standard business strike mint state coins might fetch $1 or $2 ungraded, while top-graded MS-68 examples have broken the $400 barrier at auction. A Philadelphia MS-68 piece realized around $450 in a late 2016 sale, and MS-69 specimens have commanded up to $3,500. Meanwhile, the satin finish proof strikes, those SP-70 gems, have fetched around $1,100. Proof silver DCM specimens, PR-70, trade in the low hundreds. Error varieties elevate the excitement even further. Look for a double-die reverse on a Denver quarter. At MS-64, one brought over $500 in recent years. A triple-clipped planchet error, where multiple bite marks along the rim leave a coin with missing arcs, sold for over $900. Even rotation errors, where obverse and reverse orientations misalign by 180 degree, have stirred collector forums, though values for those vary by eye appeal and grade. Of course, condition reigns supreme. A heavily circulated Oregon quarter may never rise above face value, while an uncirculated MS-60 might go for $1 or $2. From MS-63 through MS-65, values creep into the $5 to $15 range, with MS-66, MS-67 hitting $15 to $50. Once you break MS-68, premiums surge, and every single notch up in grade can mean a jump of $100 or more. Proof state coins follow a similar curve. PR-65 to PR-69 proofs range from $5 to $50, but PR-70 specimens routinely sell for $100 to $200. Beyond numbers, the backstory adds allure. Crater Lake's formation, over 7,700 years ago by Mount Mazamis collapse, makes it a geological wonder. Featuring Wizard Island, the design nods to natural beauty and the Native American Klamath legends tied to the lake's creation. Weaver's achievement as one of the few women whose work appears on circulating U.S. coins adds another layer of significance, reminding seasoned collectors that art and history often merge in small metallic canvases. When you pry open rolls of quarters, let your eyes drift beyond the date and mint mark. Notice the depth of the lake's engraving, the sharpness of the peaks, and any hint of doubling around the lettering. Check the rim for clipped sections or die cracks. Shine a light at an angle to reveal satin finish survivors or cameo contrasts on proof pieces. Even a fingerprint or a stray hairline scratch can tell you whether a coin belongs in your pocket or in a holder destined for auction. Having peeled back Oregon's layers, from vintage figures to unexpected errors and auction triumphs, you're ready to set that quarter aside. Up next, we'll examine the 2004 Iowa State Quarter, its eagle in-flight reverse, its own rarities, and why collectors aged 40, 50 plus are snapping them up. Stay tuned as we lift the veil on Iowa's silver-lined treasure. Shifting from the deep blue of Crater Lake to the Heartland's green schoolyard, the 2004 Iowa Quarter quietly captured a different kind of American spirit. You might have heard it called the Eagle Quarter. After all, the soaring lines of the tree and the students almost look feathery at a glance. But peer a little closer, and you'll spot a one-room schoolhouse, a teacher, and youngsters planting a sapling. This gentle scene, born from Midwestern pride, rewards the collector who looks past first impressions. Let's explore how this humble schoolyard became one of the most intriguing and surprisingly valuable entries in the 50-state quarters program. Iowa's turn in the lineup fell on October 11, 2004, making it the fourth release that year and the 29th overall in the program. The series had already inspired millions to save change, but Iowa's design stood out by celebrating foundation in education rather than a landmark or historic figure. That theme sprang from a 1942 painting by Grant Wood, best known for American Gothic, which was adapted for coinage by engraver William Cousins. On the obverse, Flanagan's familiar Washington bust keeps watch, while the reverse invites you into a moment of learning and growth. A teacher guiding students as they plant a tree, symbolizing both knowledge and Iowa's agricultural roots. At first glance, identifying your Iowa quarter is simple. The reverse legend curves around the top rim, foundation in education, with Iowa and the year 2004 beneath. Look for the mint mark by Washington's ponytail, a P for Philadelphia or AD for Denver on business strikes, and an S for San Francisco on proof strikes. The clad circulation strikes weigh 5.67 grams and measure 24.3 millimeters in diameter, with the standard copper-nickel sandwich. Silver proofs, by contrast, carry a richer heft at 6.25 grams of 90% silver and bear the S mint mark. More than 460 million circulation strikes poured out of Philadelphia and Denver combined, roughly 214 million from Philly and 251 million from Denver, making this one of the more common state quarters. Still, survival in pristine condition is a different story. The San Francisco silver proofs numbered only about 1.7 million and satin finish proofs even fewer. That limited pool is where serious collectors find real opportunity because raw circulation examples, even ungraded MS-65s, sell for just a couple of dollars, while the top tier can soar. In everyday change, a well-worn Iowa quarter rarely rises above face value. But as soon as you spot a sharp strike with full luster, you've stepped into the numismatic sweet spot. Uncirculated MS-63 coins trade for around $1 to $2. Move up to MS-65, and you're looking at $3 to $6. Reach MS-67, where you begin to see very few uncirculated pieces, and values climb to $15 to $30. By MS-68, prices can hover between $50 and $100 depending on eye appeal, toning, and whether the surfaces show any microscopic bag marks. An MS-69 example, virtually impossible to find in circulation, can command several $100s. Proof-clad examples follow a parallel curve. A PR-65 might fetch $5 to $10 among budget-minded collectors who just want the cameo contrast. PR-69 proofs push $20 to $40, especially if the mirror fields pop and the devices have a frosted look. The Holy Grail, PR-70, often lands in the $60 to $100 range. Silver-proof PR 70 coins, with that crystalline strike and deep cameo, have traded for as much as $230 in auction rooms. A handful of error coins have sparked real excitement. One of the most dramatic finds is the grease-filled reverse on a Philadelphia Strike graded MS 65. It sold for over $1,200 when a collector recognized smeared lettering and fields that looked suspiciously dull. Clipped planchets are exceedingly rare, only a couple dozen confirmed. Yet a clipped MS 62 brought nearly $400 when it hit the block. Die cracks, especially a fine crack through the schoolhouse roof, pop up occasionally. If the crack intersects the lettering, that coin can double in value over a standard MS 65. Collectors also hunt rotation errors. A misalignment of 90 degrees or 180 degrees between obverse and reverse can be tempting, but eye appeal is everything. A perfectly centered strike that's upside down looks purposeful, while a sloppy 20 degrees tilt won't. Rotation varieties reaching full 180 degrees have traded for $100 to $200 when accompanied by an MS 66 grade or higher. Beyond grades and mistakes, the Iowa Quarter carries a host of stories. Grant Wood's original painting was meant to celebrate Arbor Day, first proclaimed in Nebraska but embraced by Midwestern farmers who saw tree planting as both a scientific and communal act. By transplanting that 1940s rural classroom onto a coin, the U.S. Mint honored an educational philosophy as much as a moment in time. Kids in Iowa still learn about Arbor Day each spring, and many school districts mint tokens based on this design as fundraiser medallions. Little ironies that keep the quarter's spirit alive. Condition nuances can be telling. A bag mark on the tree's leaves might cost you a grade, but a faint strike on the schoolhouse chimney can be forgiven if the tree branches pop. Under magnification, check for full rims and no flow lines in the fields. Even the slightest haze inside the letters Iowa can tip the scale from MS 68 to MS 67. Proof enthusiasts look for deep, flawless mirrors. Any frosting on the background should be uniform, and devices must stand out crisply. When you sift through rolls or dealer boards, let your fingers feel for that satin-proof finish. Proof coins almost feel like you've run your nail gently over polished glass. Business strikes should have a ring when dropped on a hard surface. A dull thud means internal microscratches. Use a 5x loop to scan the fields for hairlines. Under an angled light, the schoolhouse should cast a tiny shadow. If it doesn't, the strike may be weak. Auction house results underscore how much condition and variety matter. A Denver MS 68 sold for about $600 in mid-2018, while a Philadelphia MS 68 hit $1,500 in early 2019. Silver-proof PR 70 examples achieved $230 at heritage auctions in 2005, then settled into the $150 to $200 band as collectors absorbed the supply. Clad-proof PR 70 coins routinely clears $60 on eBay, depending on grading service and holder aesthetics. For owners aged 40 to 50, these quarters often carry personal memories. The first roll you saved as a youngster, the crisp shine of a proof set bought for a child's graduation, or the surprise of finding a nearly flawless piece in pocket change. That nostalgia fuels demand. You're not just bidding on metal and design, you're bidding on a piece of your own past. As you decide whether to spend your next roll or set aside that flash-white Iowa quarter, remember that every grade jump multiplies value. A single notch from MS 67 to MS 68 can double your return. Errors can catapult you into four-figure territory, but only if you know what to look for. And the story behind the image, a teacher planting roots of knowledge, reminds us that coins are more than currency. They're tiny monuments to ideas that shaped a nation. With this portrait of Iowa's quarter laid out, from its educational motif to its mintages, market tiers, and curious error siblings, you're equipped to spot the treasures hidden among everyday change. Whether you chase the glossy proof or hunt the elusive clipped planchet, this quarter offers both tangible value and a deeper connection to American history. Now, take a breath, examine those rims, and let the foundation in education guide you toward your next numismatic prize.